All right, this is lesson number 10 on the hook, the elbow, and the rabbit punch. This is where, if you go back and review the lessons on biomechanics, when we talked about our warm-up, this kind of warm-up is very important. Letting the arms swing to learning how to generate that force for a hook. Because one way, simple way to practice the hook, standing square with my hands in close, and I use that same warm-up idea, but now I swing with my hook. See, that's where that force, you're learning that dynamic force is the same as this. Boom, now I just make it the hook. Bam, bam, it's the same thing. So, the hook is commonly off the lead, and it's meant to be a close-in weapon. So, it's like we've been mixing it up. I'm in close, right? And I start to step out, bam, and I nail him with the hook on the way out. That's the most powerful way to do it. I like to use the analogy, doing a hook is like having a mixing bowl full of cookie dough, and you got a wooden spoon stuck in the cookie dough. You got a hold of that spoon with a vertical fist, and you're stirring the cookie dough. A hook is a circular motion. That's why it's called a hook. The elbow has to be as parallel to the ground as you can get it. So if I'm going to have to hook somebody that's taller than me, I'm not going to do it like that. I'm going to have to raise up to hit him. If I want to hook to the ribs, I don't want to hook like this. I got to drop my weight and still make my forearm as parallel to the ground as I can get it. Vertical fist is important. You don't have on gloves and hand wraps. If I'm wearing gloves and hand wraps, and a lot of boxers do it with a horizontal fist, but good experiment, take your hand, make a fist, grab your pinky, and wiggle. That's the weakest part of your fist, right there. It moves. No matter how hard you grip your fist, that part moves. So if I hit something, a glancing blow like this, and the force goes across this way, I'm going to break that bone. An oblique fracture through the 5th metacarpal is called a boxer's fracture by radiologists. So that ought to tell you something, all right? If I've got a vertical fist and I'm hitting a glancing blow, the force is going more along the strongest part of my fist, and I'm less likely to get a fracture. So if you're going to be fighting barehanded, like we are as a martial art, vertical fist is important. So if Henry's holding the pad, I'm in my stance, I'm hitting pretty much from where my fist is at. I don't want to draw back to punch. What I want to do is just lift my elbow and pivot and punch, right? So I'm here, I'm doing a good hook. I'm just hitting. So it's meant to be in tight, and it cycles, boom, right back to the beginning. But see, it's a circular motion. And I'm pivoting on my lead leg, I'm lifting my heel, so as I lift my heel, my hip lifts, and it actually kind of pushes my upper body away. So some of that force, that rotary force, is by coming back towards myself. Wham, 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 wham. Because again, it's meant to be used in tight. Like Henry and I have been mixing it up, and then on the way out, boom, I nail him with my hook. Or maybe we've done something, I've thrown a punch and he's slipped it, and then before he can recover, boom, I nail him with the hook, coming back towards me. And I'm right back in the fray, so to speak. So that's important, that idea of off my lead leg comes this way. The more I increase the angle at my elbow, the more power I lose in my punch. The best punch is 90 degrees or less. It's going to have the most power behind it. Bam! That's not to say I can't increase the angle. Off my lead hand, however, if I have to reach out more to hit Henry, it doesn't make sense to try to do it with a hook because I lose some of that pivot power. That rotary power is gone. So if I'm going to punch from a distance, right, what I would do instead of a hook is our overhand punch, where I hit at an angle and come back, right? So if I'm at this distance, rather than trying to hook him, I'm going to overhand in that similar situation where it hits and it rotates back. Boom! Boom! Because my force is going forward. It's not a rotation. However, I can still do a hook off my rear hand. So if he switches it. So now I can hit from further out. But it's the same idea. I don't want to do this, make it a swinging punch. If I'm going to do a hook, even opening out the angle from my rear hand, I still do it from right here. So it's still the same idea. You just lift your elbow and punch. But now I've opened the angle out because, say now we're at this distance and I'm doing my hook here. Bam, bam, and I'm not moving away from myself. So we're here, and now I'm doing my hook this way. So I have to open out the angle more. I hit, but it's still that circular motion because it's still a hook. Right? So we're mixing it up. See, it still comes from right here. And I can get a little more power to that rear hook if I step and I kind of lean a little bit. So I've got him set up. I know where I'm going to deliver my hook. And now I step laterally with this foot and I kind of turn into the punch. Then I can really hit hard with the rear hook. Okay? And one of the exercises we do to develop the hook, to help teach that dynamic, is if he takes the pad off, and you're standing in that left lead, that cross arm drill that we did. So he's here, I'm here, we're crossing our forearms. It's almost like arm wrestling. And now we both are gonna, see, I'm coming up on my toe, pivoting back towards me, and he's countering. So it's a way to really make sure you got that dynamic going correctly. All right, to develop a hook. Now, Wing Chun has an elbow that's mostly in the third form. It's in other places, but in most people's Buji form, they have an elbow, right, where you're walking in Buji form. It's done like this, or with a pivot, like this, right? We still use that elbow. Anytime you could do a hook, you can do an elbow. And that Wing Chun elbow works perfect. We're not throwing it from way back here like in the form, but that's really just to kind of help you set the angle up well for the elbow. It's important though, when we do the elbow, my wrist is bent and on my chest. It's not a fist. Notice the range. When I make a fist, I can't carry through as far. If I open my hand, boom, my elbow is just gonna go through that much better. And by not making a fist, my forearm stays relaxed. I'm not tightening my forearm and kind of putting the brakes on things. It's a nice loose bam, bam, and I'm hitting with anywhere from here to here. So if he's got the pad up again, same situation, right? Anytime I could have done that, I could have done this. In, close, boom, pop. And I'm still doing that Wing Chun elbow, classic elbow, just like that. Right, switches, you can see it from the other side. Again, here's the hook, and here's the elbow. Same thing. It's just instead of a hook, pull my hand in and roll it to the elbow. So anytime you're practicing combination, where you're doing a hook as part of the combination, it could have been an elbow. Right? Hook and elbow are interchangeable. Now, in boxing they have something called the rabbit punch. And it's illegal. And it's not illegal because it's ineffective. It's illegal because it's dangerous. And because it's dangerous, it makes it a very good punch to use in boxing as a martial art. The rabbit punch actually got its name from the idea the old game wardens or people that raised rabbits, when they got ready to kill them, grab them by the ears, smack them on the neck behind the head, twist their neck, dress the rabbit. Kind of brutal, but pretty efficient. Not wasting bullets. You don't even need a knife. Whack! So the rabbit punch in boxing probably originally was exactly that, right? We're boxing and the guy kind of goes past me, right? And I come back and I hit him this way. That's illegal. What it has kind of evolved to, and boxers still kind of slip it in, just like the hook, the elbow, it's illegal because it works. And boxers still will slip it in. They're in close, right? And we just kind of accidentally got turned. Oh man, I didn't mean to hit him with that elbow. It just happened. Oh, sorry. In the meanwhile, the guy's, it's illegal because it works. Rabbit punch then is a blow to the back of the head. And what happens in boxing, modern day boxing, is we're doing something, I've punched at him, he's doing kind of the bob and weave out of it, and as he bobs and weaves, he's like, oh, sorry. I smack him in the back of the head. That's a modern day rabbit punch, right? Boom. So we do it this way. With an open hand, it's actually a palm strike. It's still that hook, but now I opened it out, and he's coming back towards me. So rabbit punch is like this. Palm strike to the back of the head. So my hand comes up, and I'm hitting just like that. See how I'm pulling back towards me? Just like we did with that lead hook. Switch his hands. Now this could be devastating, obviously. Get smacked in the back of the head like that. Turned it that way, right? So we're hitting. Right? So again, if he puts down the pad, the way this works, we're moving around, we're moving, bam, right there. Right? It's that easy, right? Just extend my hand a little bit when I'm moving around, boom, there's the rabbit punch. And that could be lights out right there. Right? Another way it's used, we'll get to a lesson when we talk about evasive body movement and the bob and weave. And people will say, oh, I would never do the bob and weave in a street fight because you'll get hit in the face. Bullshit. If he's punching, I'm bobbing and weaving. It's while his arm is in motion. While his arm is in motion, he's not going to also kick me. And if I'm bobbing and weaving, my hands are here. I want him to lift that leg. If he lifts that leg, it's like, you know, anytime he lifts to kick or knee or whatever, man, I just take him. I'm not afraid of that at all. My hands are here. If he's trying to knee me in the face, I can catch that and I nail him in the nuts. So that's not the danger when you're bobbing and weaving. I'm not worried about his legs. I'm worried about getting hit in the back of the head, because it's hard if he's punching and I'm bobbing and weaving over his punch. He's got his upper body in motion. It's going to be very hard for him to switch that and throw a kick. But it's very easy for him to switch that and make it a blow to the back of the head. All right? So if I'm bobbing and weaving under Henry, he's throwing a nice wide punch, and I come down, it's easy for him to redirect that punch and nail me right in the back of the head. And I got nothing to guard or protect myself. So that's the danger in boxing as a martial art to the bob and weave, is that rabbit punch to the back of the head, not a knee to the face. Thank you.